my encouragement is for people to do the opposite. Go out, be involved, like play a sport, like go to activities, go to games, just meet people and like experience life, go to church.
Hey there, and welcome to Trojan Time. Get ready for another dive into the pulse of HLGU campus life. This is Natalia Costa, your host, and I'm beyond excited to welcome you to today's episode because we have a special guest, Aleks, also known around campus as Timmy. Timmy is a sophomore basketball player who's an international student here at HLG. He's from Sofia, Bulgaria, and came to America to play his sport. Welcome, Timmy, and thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
So, the first question, we would like to know the story of what brought you to HLG.
So, it was a lot of factors, honestly, and kind of want to take it back to 2019 when was my exchange year. I was a foreign exchange student in Orlum, Iowa, which most people know it's the state above Missouri. And I loved my time there. It was awesome. My host family was great. All the friends that I met through school and basketball were just absolutely amazing people. And I love this part of the state. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to come back in this area. So when I started looking for a school to come back here in the States, I was looking around this area, Midwest, the Midwest America. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why brought me to HLG. And obviously, when we talk about school, education is a big part of it, obviously. And I really like the education you guys provide over here in the States. So that's another reason why I wanted to come back here. I wanted to get a quality education. And so we discussed with my parents that the States would be a great fit for me since I've already been here, and I had a great time. So we were like, why not just go back and just get your education there? And another like big factor would be basketball. I really wanted to play college basketball, like ever since I started playing pretty much in Bulgaria, and I've always been like keen on playing here in college. And I started looking for colleges and texting schools to see who can I play for, and Hannibal was one of the schools that responded. And fell in love with it. So I was like, well, HOG is going to be it. And I feel like the biggest reason why I'm here in Hannibal is because of God. I feel like He led me here. He wanted me to be here. And I can see that throughout my campus life. And just, I feel like so welcome here.
Yeah.
You know, I can just definitely, every time I say, yeah, God wanted me here, I'm super thankful for Hannibal. So
yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Some of our listeners might not know, but I am also an international student, so I know culture shock can be a really big thing. So I wanted to ask you, what surprised you the most about American culture, and how is it different from like Bulgarian culture?
The first thing that I noticed were the people. Obviously, I feel like Americans, especially around the Midwest, especially in small towns, are really, really welcoming. But I feel like in Bulgaria, we're more emotional, if that kind of makes sense. We show our love more. We show our appreciation and affection more.
Yeah,
even more. Like
I understand that.
Yeah. I feel like you would relate to that, like with you being from Europe as well. So I feel like you relate to that. But that's one of the biggest things I noticed. Like, I love the people here, really welcoming, but I feel like Bulgarians are like a level above that. Another thing that I've noticed about culture is like not totally related to culture, but how like the country looks. See, like Bulgaria is a country that has a lot of mountains, and we also have a seaside, and we're a really populated country. We're like way more populated than the Midwest states, especially Missouri. I feel like that, like just how the country looks, like downtown and like the neighborhoods around it, they just look completely different. Like we have like more apartment buildings, they're like taller, bigger, just because we have more people, and it just like looks completely different.
I feel like countries in Europe are built for people, and America is kind of like built for cars.
Yeah.
Like there's like roads everywhere, but there's like, I was surprised by the parking lots.
There's
parking lots everywhere.
And like in Europe, you can barely find, especially around downtown, you can't park anywhere.
Yeah.
I agree with that so much. That's such a fact.
It's like it's so easy to move with a car around here, but not like just like moving by yourself. But then in Europe, like it wouldn't be convenient to drive because there's traffic, and then you have to park, and like it's easier to just walk or.
That's what I was going to say. Also, like just how like that changed so much, like around my daily life, just because like in Bulgaria I would walk and take public transportation everywhere, where here I can only go places by car. And that's just like one of the biggest like say culture changes I had to go through, is just making sure like I find a car everywhere I need to go. And I was like, that's like different. And I kind of like it just because I don't have to wait for the bus for
Yeah.
like come to like in 10 minutes and whatnot. But at the same time, you have the challenge to like see, oh, where am I going to park, so that's all that kind of stuff. Also, I like just the traditions, what we did in Bulgaria and what we do over here. So like one of the things is, where do I begin from? Like, say, welcoming people when you have guests.
Mhm.
In Bulgaria, we always make sure that we have like snacks ready, like we have a meal planned. And over here in America, it's just like you just come over and we'll figure something out. So there's not like that much preparation that goes into it. So that's one of the things I've noticed. Also, when we like have gatherings and celebrations, say for example, well, a really good example would be the Super Bowl from last night. If we were in Bulgaria, we would come like go to like a restaurant, like order like so many meals, and we have like a whole bunch of people gather around the table. We'll be talking and watching the game at the same time. Where here is everything about the game. There's no much preparation going on. It's just like, yeah, let's just gather around the table, we'll watch the game, and that's it. We'll figure out like meals and everything else later. And about that as well, like whenever we go to restaurants, not just like just to like hang out, we'll go to restaurants and the music would be different, and just how we like what we eat, so the food would be very different. Another thing that I've noticed is the school system is really different.
Yeah.
So in Bulgaria, you don't have any say in what you're gonna study. It's kind of like the curriculum is the same for everybody, and you have a certain group which is called your classmates. You have a certain group that you go to your classes like throughout the day. Like you don't have like you would have like 5 classes, for example, but you'll be with the same people all the time.
That's how it is in Spain too.
I figured, just because it's kind of like the European way. I feel like, but to be honest, I like the school system here more, just because it gives you more freedom to like pick what you're going to study.
Yeah.
And you'll meet different people throughout the day, so I like that a lot. And also about sports in general, I feel like they're like completely different. In Bulgaria, if you wanted to play sports, you have to like play at a club.
Yeah.
And here the sports are connected through not either, but like they're connected to the school. And so that makes it like really easy, just because you go from classes to practice. Where in Bulgaria it would be like you get done with classes, you have to go home, then you have to commute to practices. So it's like this non-stop traveling throughout the city.
It's very convenient over here, because
It
it's
is,
like
'cause
it's linked to your
so
school.
easy,
You don't
yeah.
need to like choose which team you want to play for, or it's so much easier. So
and it makes it such more, how you said, like super convenient.
Yeah. And talking about sports, I know basketball is different in Europe like than it is over here. How was your culture shock as an athlete?
Well, one of the things is that the play style around basketball is like so different from here and what it is back home. Over here, basketball is like so much fast pace, and it's like it feels like you're like also in transition offense, transition defense. And in Bulgaria, it's more the pace is slower, and offense would run sets. And that's one of the things I've noticed. So like I had to adjust to that. But another thing around sports is that here the sports are only go for like a couple months. Say for example, for basketball, for me was from October to January, and then after that you just work out by yourself. Where in Bulgaria, when your season gets over, you still practice with your team, you're still with a coach. Where over here, you're just gonna have to be like by yourself. Which I like both, honestly, just because it gives you some time to like work on yourself, not just like with the team. So I guess that the freedom I get over here is better.
I like the European way better, because I don't know how it is in Bulgaria, but in Spain, I would be in season September through June, and I would have games. So it's like less. I feel like here the season is too busy. Like we are playing all the time, and that like you're not able to enjoy it as much just because you're like so tired. And I like it better in Europe, because it's like you play 1 or 2 games a week, but you're playing your sport the entire year. So I feel like you get to enjoy it more.
I agree with that, and I relate to that as well. I like that, like the season was more spread out. You don't get as many games; you just have like 1 per week, as you said. So I like that a lot better, honestly. But I also like the time off basketball that we get over here, because we get like a big postseason and preseason. So like it gives you time to work on yourself as well. But I do miss having practices all year long. I
That
do
is
miss
true.
that.
So also talking about culture shock, something that was really different for me was the way that we experience religion in like different countries.
Hmm.
So I wanted to ask you a little bit about your faith journey and how moving overseas might have affected that.
Well, to be honest, it was as not a funny story, but I love the story I have with God. So the whole reason why I'm so close with God right now is just because I went overseas. So my family, they are Christians, but they're not as deep in their faith. So and Bulgaria is very famous for the Orthodox Christianity, but I wasn't as close with God until I came here. And it was during my exchange year. I had one of my friends. He was a regular churchgoer, is a really good Christian, and he told me one day, "Hey, you want to come to church with me?" And I didn't really think about it a whole. I was like, "Yeah, I'll just hang out with friends, like not a big deal." But I did go, and for a couple of Wednesdays I went, and I started listening to the sermons more. I wasn't just like hanging out with friends. I started listening to the sermons more, and that's how my faith journey started. Pretty much, I started listening to the sermons, and they started affecting me in a really good way. They started helping me a lot with stuff that I was going through my exchange year, just being far away from home and like culture changes and stuff. So I started being more reliant on God during that year. And then when I had to go back to Bulgaria, I continued watching church online, and so that helped me even more, just because like I was like consistent with it. I was like taking notes on the sermons, so it was really cool that my church was doing that, and so like it helped me grow in Christ even more. So like, and then after that I just like started like I started growing in my faith, and I started reading the Bible, and I started paying more attention to all the TikToks and Instagram posts that
Yeah.
you see about God. And I was like, well, maybe God's putting those on my For You page just because he's trying to tell me something. He wants to teach me something. So I started paying more attention to those. And that's how I kept growing. And when I came back here to Hannibal, it really helped that we had chapel. And I was like, I found the church family really fast. So that was a big help to my faith journey too. And we also, freshman year, we had core groups. And in my core group, we were going through this book that's named Sharing God Without Freaking Out. And I feel like that helped me even more with not just keeping my faith to myself, but being able to spread it, to share it with other people. And that book was really, really big in my faith journey. And I've read it a couple of times. Great book, and it helped me so much to be able to not just like keep my faith to myself, but to share it with others.
Yeah, I feel like there's something about finding a local church here in town that just like, it's so good and so different, because I can relate to you in a lot of things. But I wanted to ask you one last question today. So you've been talking about how you've been enjoying your time here so much. What would you say to an international student that's thinking about coming here to HLG?
Well, my first advice would be is that everyone should be prepared about the change they're going to experience. Doesn't matter if it's going to be like a culture shock or like a completely daily life change, or like for like how you live your life. It's just so different over here. So just be prepared. Expect to like face challenges and change, and even like self change. A lot of people change when they go overseas, but like I feel like they should embrace it. Like be willing to go through that change, because 9 out of 10 times, like almost 10 out of 10 times, it leads to you being a better person.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's one thing. Number 2 would be just to be open-minded to activities and ideas that you might face during time away from home. So just don't be like so stuck to your ways and your ideas. Just like try to like experience the culture, the activities, how people live life over here. I have 2 more. So number 3 would be just to, especially around campus, try to be involved in campus life.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people come here, and just because it's so different from them, and like they might be a little introvert, they might get a little introverted just because they're far from home. They don't necessarily go out and try to make friends and try to like experience stuff. They just stay in their room and like go to classes. And my encouragement is for people to do the opposite. Go out, be involved, like play a sport, like go to activities, go to games, just meet people and like experience life. Go to church. That's a good one. Go to church.
Agree.
And then the last one is just to find the positivities in everything you do, because I feel like a lot of people, they come like they go overseas and they try to like find the negatives, and they're like, oh, this is nothing like home, I miss home. And my advice would be just like flip that mindset, just try to like find the positives about everything you do, like, and what you do, and just try to enjoy it, embrace it. That's my advices.
Those are good advices. Well, thank you so much for your time, Timmy. Thank you for sharing with us.
Well, thank you for having me. It was fun. It was a lot of fun, so I'm happy I was able to come and talk with you guys for a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Trojan Time. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share Trojan Time with friends. This is Natalia Cuesta signing off. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep the Trojan spirit alive.